Well, let's get more on this now. Our reporter Mbali Thethani joins us with more on the briefing by the Minister. Mbali, good evening to you. Thank you for your time tonight on The Pulse. If I've understood this correctly, the Minister is doing what she legally has to do. She actually doesn't have much choice here.
That's right, Stephen, of course. And you've also heard from the IEC saying that they need to go ahead with their mandate and, of course, their calendar for the year. So this is exactly what Nkosazana has also done in that regard, saying that they will now proclaim the 27th of October as the date that South Africans will go to the polls. But, of course, she proclaims this date at the same time where the IEC is planning to petition a competent court. She has also made reference to the Constitutional Court. From the last time we heard from the IEC, they said that it'll either be the Electoral Court or the Constitutional Court that they will be approaching to ask them, of course, to postpone these elections. So, of course, what Nkosazana has now done is also essentially helping the IEC if they approach the Constitutional Court, asking them to postpone the elections much later this year. They've said it numerous times, Stephen, that when you look at what is facing South Africa at the moment because of the pandemic, and of course from Justice Moseneke looking at that report, this is something that really they have no choice but to do. But legally, all these processes need to follow. That date was announced earlier this year by President Cyril Ramaphosa, and this process in which we have seen now also needed to take place.
Okay, so this, I suppose, gives the Electoral Commission something to aim at in court. They need to say, we know the date has been set, we now need to oppose that. This is what this is really about.
Of course, Stephen, and when you look at this issue, it seems as if they will be approaching the Constitutional Court. When you look at what Nkosazana has been saying, she has not even said anything about the Electoral Court. So we know that they have this issue now. They will be taking it to a competent court, and that competent court would be the Constitutional Court. So we are hoping to hear exactly from the IEC, Stephen, as to what the process will be now. We know that they've also released a statement just earlier on today, letting the media know that there will be some sort of press briefing where they will outline exactly which court this will be. But for now, from what we're gauging from Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, it seems as if that it will be the Constitutional Court. But she also said that, when you look at the processes that the IEC has followed, this process here of her also proclaiming this date is also not trying to undermine the process in which the IEC has taken, Stephen, and looking at that Moseneke's report, this is something that legally they have to do. So now we will hear from the IEC side as to when it is exactly that they will be approaching that competent court to deal with this matter. I mean, we're just 3 months away, Stephen, from having those elections. And we know that a number of, the various stakeholders, they've raised their issues. We've also heard from that report from Moseneke saying that the submissions in which they've heard, people are quite divided. Those who made those submissions, to Moseneke's inquiry. So right now, Stephen, while we see this process get underway, it's there to help the IEC when they approach either that Constitutional Court or that competent court. Okay,
I mean, it's so complex. I keep making this point in unprecedented times. There's many people who say if we go ahead with an election now, it won't be free and fair. There's no certainty, of course, if we went ahead with an election in February next year that it would be free and fair. We don't know what will happen with the pandemic. The problem is, I suppose, is we don't know what the Constitutional Court will decide. It's not certain that they will say, yes, you can postpone the election. In fact, there's a strong argument to say that they won't.
That's right, Stephen, and we've spoken to a number of constitutional law experts, and you are essentially going, as the IEC, you're asking the Constitutional Court, not to take this step where they have a constitutional mandate to have these elections. We have to go to the elections in October, and you're essentially now going to have to ask the Constitutional Court not, of course, to, ask them not to abide by the Constitution itself. So it will be a very tricky argument that the IEC will need to present to the Constitutional Court, Stephen, asking them to give them this leeway. We've heard from the various experts, we've heard from Moseneke himself, saying that should these elections go ahead, they will not be free and fair based on the issues around COVID-19. When you look at COVID-19, you're also looking at the vaccination process. And this is something that Moseneke has also mentioned, that should we see, herd immunity. This is what the health department needs. And when you've heard from the health experts and the health department itself, they're saying that South Africa can only reach herd immunity next year. So the most likely time for South Africans to go to elections, according to Mr. Neke, would be before the end of February next year.
It's a complex space. Mbali Thethani, thanks very much indeed. While Mbali's been talking, just a document to hand just been sent to us from the Electoral Commission, a statement released by them saying that they acknowledge the proclamation by the Minister, Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, as to the date of which the local government elections will be held, the 27th of October. They go on to say it follows a legally sanctioned consultation process between the Commission and the Minister. They then say the proclamation has several implications for the Electoral Commission and the electoral program. The immediate implication, and this is going to affect you if you're not registered to vote, is that the voters' roll for these elections closes at midnight on the 3rd of August. That is, in fact, tonight. In other words, it's possibly impossible already for someone to register to vote. The Electoral Commission also going to give more details tomorrow on the implications of this and to give an update. So, the important developments there. They've been in discussions with the Minister and with the Ministry on this issue, legally sanctioned consultation process, as they describe it. Also, voter registration, unfortunately, will close at midnight tonight for that election. It's all going to be in the hands of the Constitution.